We can be anything we want to be. Positivity. Hey, we are with Morgan Nolan, and she is with the Lusk Chamber of Commerce. Morgan, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to be here.
Morgan, give us a little background on you, where you grew up, and we'll jump into the chamber.
Okay, so I grew up in Rapid City, South Dakota, so only a couple hours from here, but definitely a much larger population base. I married my husband 13 years ago. His family's from here, born and raised. So we've been in and out of the area and spent our holidays and a lot of time here for the last 13 years, but we just relocated here permanently about 3 months ago. So yeah, that's how I ended up taking over this position.
All right, all right. Let's just jump into the chamber. If you had to describe your chamber for other chamber of commerces across the country, how would you describe it?
Well, our chamber operates a little bit different than most just because we're so small. So we can't just operate and function on chamber memberships like a lot of towns do. We just don't have the business capacity to do that here. So we do all of the functions of the lodging tax board in our town. So I do all of that, the tourism, the advertising, the economic development. Our chamber's basically everything in one, and I'm actually the only person here. So I kind of do all of those sorts of things. We do have a board that we meet with, but as far as daily functions, this facility does the visitor center, all of it. So we're a little bit different than some of the other ones in the state. I know a lot of them do more local business networking and things. We end up doing about everything, trying to bring in tourists, trying to up our overnight stay rates, trying to keep all of our little businesses functioning. And yeah, so we've got some differences, but our main goal is obviously still keeping our local businesses happy and mouths fed and everybody in that area content.
What do you feel like is the strength of your chamber?
Well, we're a small town, so we have the advantage that there are larger towns where I think businesses see themselves more as competitors. Here, our businesses are competitors, but at the end of the day, it's the same person sitting next to you in church and running into you at the grocery store. And I mean, we're only 2,400 people, our whole county. So it's such a small area that they really do work together. If they don't have what you need, they're going to send you to the guy down the street that has what you need because he's their neighbor and their friend. So
Yeah,
we have the advantage that as a chamber, we're promoting all of the businesses, but the businesses help promote each other. That helps us do our job, getting all of that communication with all the businesses. They're all talking to each other. So we don't have to get word out to every single business. They're going to help us with all of that.
sure, sure. Very good, very good. And so you've been in this position for how long?
So I've only been here since September 1st. So
Okay.
I was in real estate for 7 years before this.
Yeah,
So
no.
it's
So
a more competitive field.
what are some of the goals that you have set for the chamber in taking over this?
Well, our chamber was a bit outdated in just the way it ran as far as its social media presence. There were a lot of things I thought we could do with getting word out there and spreading it. And instead of spending all of the money on print advertising, let's get some social media out there. Let's get an online presence built.
Right.
Simple things. I'm developing QR codes for a lot of the businesses because so many take donations, but they're all cash based. So just things to make it more accessible in a very technology based society.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. As you sit here and you think about it, we've talked about the advantages. What are some of the disadvantages? What are some of the challenges that you're butting up against?
Well, when people think let's take a trip to Wyoming, they don't think Lusk. I'll tell you that. We don't have the industry, so we don't have all of the people that come with coal and oil, and we don't have the mountains and all of that. We have prairies, and we're just so small that getting us on the map is our biggest challenge. Keeping that traffic. We're a primary junction between 4 states, so we are the intersection between Colorado, Nebraska, South Dakota, and Wyoming. Everyone has to come through, but they don't have to stop. So really my biggest challenge is just getting a lot of these businesses that have done something the same way for a really long time to be open to a new idea to put us on that map.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. You talked in a little bit and you hit a little bit on the fact that you were just trying to kind of upgrade the chamber to get into that digital age as it goes through there. How well do you network with other small chamber of commerces to learn about what they're doing?
Oh, absolutely, we do. I just went to a conference. The WSCC conference was last month in Rock Springs, and that's for all the chambers and the economic development in my area. I got to meet all the new and people were already in place, but there are a lot of new directors in the last couple of years. So I met with all of them and we discussed, I said, hey, we're all small. We don't have the pool that Jackson and Cody, some of these other places have to work with. So we need to pool resources here. We need to be friends because if you're succeeding, I'm succeeding. You know, a campaign with all of us, to me, is a wonderful asset. So we're organizing dinners that all of us in our area can get together, us, Goshen County, all of our little surrounding counties, and say, hey, what can we do as a unit? Because we don't have the same pool of funds to play with. We have to rely on our neighbors. And the reality is, if more people are in their county, more than likely they're going to stop through my county too. So we're all benefiting. We need to get rid of the mindset of we're competing and jump on the mindset of we're working as a unit. You know, if you're succeeding, I'm succeeding. We're all benefiting from one another. There's a trickle effect there.
Yeah, absolutely. What role, or does any role, does the chamber host? You host events for your community, and if you do, the goal behind that, is it more to support your community, or is it more to bring in tourism in hopes that people will actually move there?
So yes, we do host several events that I'm actually working on a lot of new events for next year. We're going to try a summer concert series where we invite all of our businesses to and vendors to our fairgrounds down there and try to hold a concert with all of that. And hopefully more people will come out being driven by the concert and still shop at those local businesses. We're obviously trying to do our part as the chamber, bringing our local businesses into it, but we're also trying to increase tourism and our overnight stay rate and all of those things at the same time. If we can make these events large enough events and get word out enough, there's not a lot to do around here. We're, you know, the towns around us are very similar in that way. They have small events here and there, but to go to anything major, you're driving to Denver or Sioux Falls. So you're a good 6-hour drive. So if we can get some decent events going, we'll pull a decent population just based on the counties around us.
Sure.
So we're looking at both. We're looking at wanting to bring our locals together because the closer knit town you have, the more supportive they are, the more they see those business owners every day in their lives, the more they want to support those businesses. Shopping local is a really big thing here because these businesses need to thrive all year and they can't do that without locals. We have a very slow season. So we do want people to get out and see their neighbor that owns the hardware store so that they go there instead of Casper. But we also need the tourists because that lodging tax funds a lot of things for us. We just don't have the funding here. So we rely heavily on that.
Very good. Very good. If there's one thing that you want other listeners to know, maybe other chamber of commerces or people that are looking at, coming to Lusk, what's something you want them to know?
We have a lot of really neat things. Like I said, people just don't know we're here. We have the last wooden water tower in the state of Wyoming here. We have one of only 6 functioning Carnegie libraries. We have an incredible museum here. There's a lot of really neat things. If you come for the Rawhide pageant, these people pull together like nothing I've ever seen in this community when they get excited about something. Like I said, I'm not from a small town, so that was new for me. To see this many people pull together in one thing and have the enthusiasm that they do for it after they've done it for this many years is pretty cool. There are a lot of really neat things. There's a lot of heart in this town. You walk into any business and you're going to get met with a smile. There's not one person that has been unwelcoming, even though I'm an outsider in this town. Being only a few months in here, I was worried I would get met with some of that, but I haven't. They're very welcoming. The biggest thing I think for chambers is we struggle with being willing to be stuck at the status quo, the good enough idea. So that's the big thing that I'm trying to overcome in some of these smaller areas that yes, they're surviving, but they're not thriving.
Sure.
Status quo is not good enough. We have to keep progressing. So that's what we're trying to do here right now.
Yeah.
We're doing a lot of things different in the next few years, just trying to make that progress, just bringing everybody together and hosting more events and just trying to better everything.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'd say you're off to a great start. Well, congratulations on your new position, and we'll be looking forward to seeing what's happening in in the area of Lusk. So thanks for being on, Morgan. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it very much. Thank you for the opportunity.
You bet.
Okay.
Hey, today we have Judy Trago. She is with the Sisters Area Chamber of Commerce. Judy, thanks for joining us. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. The weather's pretty good today. Judy, give us a little background on you. Where'd you grow up? Talk a little bit about your family and then how you got in this position with the chamber.
Well, I was actually born and raised in Glendora, California, till I was about 20, and then I moved to Big Bear Lake, which is a mountain resort, 8,000 feet up outside of LA. And I moved to Oregon about 30 years ago. I worked for nonprofits most of that time and for some political offices as well. I took the chamber job in 2014 because they really needed help, and my passion is helping people of limited means and small business advocacy. And small businesses usually need help promoting their businesses and just to survive, especially artists and hairdressers and folks like that.
Yeah.
And so I took the job at the chamber just to help promote small businesses and help them to keep prospering.
Okay. All right. So corporate background.
Pardon me?
Do you have a corporate background?
Well, I do have a little bit of a corporate background from way back in the day, and I did work in manufacturing for a while, but for the last 30 years, I've really been working in the political environment and the nonprofit environment. I was a chief of staff for an Oregon State Senator for Central, Eastern, and Southern Oregon. I worked for a congressman at the U.S. House of Representatives. And after I left the Senate office, because he wasn't rerunning, I really felt an urge to come back to Sisters. I live about 20 miles away in Bend, Oregon, and they really needed somebody in Sisters. I lived in Sisters for 15 years and commuted to Bend for work. And now I live in Bend and I commute back to Sisters for work. So I can't get my commute straight, but I love working here. It's a small town. It's a rural town of 3,000 people. Our surrounding area is about 15,000. That's known as Sisters Country, which is our school district area. So just getting back in the rural environment was important to me. I love rural communities. I love just the feel and, you know, helping people in rural communities, super important because they don't get a lot of help. And so I love the advocacy piece.
Well, it's beautiful country. We spent some time out there this summer, Myrtle Creek. We played their concert series out there.
Good.
And you guys were in the heart of the fires, and that was I'm sure it was tough for you to live in. It was tough for us to see. I've never seen a fire camp in person, and that was enlightening. That was that made it real quick as it goes through there. So I'm glad that those dark days are behind you, and you've got your hands full there with the chamber. Let's talk specifically about your chamber. What do you feel makes your chamber unique? What are some of the unique aspects of your Chamber of Commerce?
Well, the Sisters Area Chamber of Commerce been in business for 50 years, helping small businesses. And what makes us unique is it's not bureaucratic. We can really make decisions on the fly. As an example, during COVID, we had to take in grants and get them out to the small businesses, our artists, our restaurant folks really quickly. And so the Sisters Area Chamber of Commerce isn't set up really to take in grants and get them out. So the board voted in lockstep to start a Sisters Community Foundation. And so that's one of the things that makes us unique. We're able to actually help via the needs of the community and based on what those community needs are. So we set up the community foundation, and now we do help people of limited means. We'll help with rental assistance, utility assistance, and now the board helped get it started, and now it's its own organization, separate 501c3. So just being able to do things like that for the community has been an awesome opportunity for me to go through that process. We are able to advocate on behalf of our businesses at the county, state, and federal level. That makes us unique. And another thing that makes us unique is we have very large events for a town of 3,000 people. So we have a rodeo, the Sisters Rodeo, that's been in business for 85 years. 2025 will be their 85th anniversary. It brings about 30,000 people to town. It's called the Little Biggest Show in the World, and it's the largest purse in the nation for a small rodeo. So that's pretty exciting.
Wow.
Yeah, and so we work very closely with the Sisters Rodeo Board. We help promote them. We're a sponsor of the rodeo, one of many. And we produce the Sisters Harvest Fair, which is an art show, brings about 180 artists to town, second week in October. And artists come from all over the Northwest, 7 different states, about 10 to 12,000 people attend the Sisters Harvest Fair. And it is a major fundraiser for the Sisters Area Chamber of Commerce. And we just love helping artists because, again, artists struggle with their businesses. So we love promoting, helping them get some income in, and helping their businesses thrive.
Now I can understand how those events would benefit your membership and business, because you're bringing people into your town, your community. The division that you have helping your community with rental assistance and utility assistance, what is the advantage of being a chamber member in that aspect?
Well, it's very important because those people that we are helping that are of limited needs, that might need rental assistance, might need childcare assistance, might need gas to get to work or food. Those folks are living and working in our community, and they're living and working for our small businesses. And our small business owners would love to help everyone who works for them, but a lot of times they're struggling as well just to keep up. So they really can't afford to help someone pay their rent. And so that is where the chamber and the community foundation come in, because we are able to help fill a gap that our small business owners really wouldn't be able to do. And if someone can't get to work, or if they're getting evicted from their apartment, they're really not focused on work. And they're really not, if they don't have gas to get to work, they'll have to call in sick. So it does impact the economy.
Gotcha.
And being a chamber member really helps our businesses access all of those benefits.
Yeah, no, that makes good sense. I'm glad you explained that for me. Let's talk a little bit about the digital transformation. And of course, AI is a big topic now, but how does the chamber take a role in that? And what do you see that as a role, not only serving your community, but that technology serving you and your members?
We have a comprehensive marketing program, and we have not gone all digital like many other larger chambers of commerce have. I still believe in a diversified portfolio, for lack of a better word. So we do produce print, radio, television, and digital marketing for our members. So I like to make sure that we're well-rounded, and we have a large digital platform. We reach a large audience between our website, sisterscountry.com, and our social media platforms. So we can reach hundreds of thousands of people every year through digital media. And then we love radio. We advertise in Portland and Seattle along the I-5 corridor, and we advertise in Bend locally, which is about a 20-minute drive from Sisters. So it's a quick, easy ride to get up here and have lunch and do some shopping. And we have 2 resorts that anchor our town. So we have Black Butte Ranch to the west and Aspen Lakes Golf Resort to the south. So we really like to just make sure that we're hitting all of these marketing medias just to produce the best outcome for our members.
Okay. Very good. We've talked a lot about your strengths. You have a lot of strengths, and you've done a great job describing that. Let's just be vulnerable here for a minute. Let's talk about a weakness that your chamber specifically has, and how you're going to look to tackle that.
Well, any small rural chamber's #1 challenge is funding. And so those are challenges that are not just unique to us.
Mhm.
They are unique to all rural communities that have chambers of commerce. And without those chambers promoting those small businesses, the businesses really would suffer. So we tackle that by holding large events that bring large amounts of people to town, because that fills the hotels and the stores. We only have 4 hotels in town, but we have Airbnbs outside of town, and we have other places for people to stay outside of the city limits. So we really tackle that by holding large events and trying to get people in town. Our mission is to drive economic growth. We're not a social club. We're not a social chamber of commerce. We do have networking events, but our goal is to drive economic growth for our members. And so we really focus, laser focused in that area. And that's what we're going to continue to do. But funding is a struggle because the cost of doing business, because small chambers will never have a large enough membership to pay for the costs of the business that we do to running the chamber. So it's really critical that we get outside funds for our chambers of commerce just to maintain our staff, our operations. We've got to pay the rent, keep the lights on, just like our businesses do. But we work very hard to do that so our businesses will be successful.
Yeah. Well, so I'll share this with you, and you're the second to mention this in our interviews segment today, is that really one of the results of COVID is that a lot of people learn to become resourceful, work from home. That whole mobile networking really has allowed people to relocate and live and work where they want to live. And people are finding that not only do they want to work where they live, they want to invest in their community. They open 1 business, 2 businesses, 3 businesses. And it's a side effect of what we've seen evolve from, a time that was not so great for our country. But it's something that really is starting to benefit some of these smaller communities. And when we have a chamber of commerce who's very proactive, especially when it comes to creating events to bring people into town, to let them see, hey, this is a great place for me to live. I visited there and I'm like, this is not the Oregon that we see on the news,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
it's
We're on the right side.
Yeah, it's incredibly impactful, and it's nice to see as you go through there. So thank you for sharing that vulnerability. You're not, of course, you knew you weren't the first one to say that as it goes through there. As you look ahead to the future, what are some things that you were looking for?
Well, we are obviously looking for more economic growth for the community, and you're absolutely correct. Most of the people who moved here came here to visit, and Sister's entire economic history is from sheep to cattle to timber to tourism. So tourism is our main economy here. It's our driver, and we want to continue to see that grow and prosper. And so we are really looking for extending our tourism into the shoulder seasons. We struggle in the shoulder seasons, winter and spring particularly. And so we're looking to increase that. Diversified economy is great. When people move here and they can work at home, that's very much a benefit to the community. Production facilities struggle more because we don't have a railroad, we don't have ports, we don't have that. We are on, as I mentioned, on the east side of the mountain. We get more sunshine, which is a benefit. It rains a lot on the west side. So we get a lot of sunshine. We have skiing and hiking and all of those kinds of great things. We have a river, so people love boating and paddling on the river. So we have a lot of benefits as far as outdoor recreation. So we just like to see that tourism piece grow in the shoulder season and off season. And so we're very happy to help market that. We obviously would like to see funding, unrestricted funding through grants for more economic development organizations. And so I'm always advocating for that. because if we're not helping economic development organizations, the folks that help the social services organizations, that piece is just going to grow. So we really need to be helping our small businesses more.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. That's very good. Anything else you want to add for us today, Judy?
No, I think it's great. It's a little raining today, and there was a huge rainbow when I came into work today. So I just thought, what a great place to live and work. I mentioned I've been here 30 years, me and my husband, my 2 kids. I have 2 grandchildren. We're all in the same area, so that's great. And it's just a great place to live and work.
Yep, I agree. I agree. Thanks for being on with us, Judy.
Yeah.
Hey, we're with Tanya Fletcher. She's with the Paris Area Chamber of Commerce. Tanya, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jake.
Tanya, give us a little background on you. Where'd you grow up, and talk a little bit about your family and career?
Okay. So I primarily grew up in the River Valley region here in Arkansas. When I was young, I lived all over the United States, so kind of traveled with my family, and we had a little bit of a diverse, like I think I went to 13 schools early on in my, so I think that helped me with a love of people and a way to adapt with, groups of people. So I think it did give me an appreciation to love people. But prior to my chamber work here, I worked in anything from, waiting tables to working in a factory. But the previous 12 years before I started the chamber, I was in retail sales manager for several different locations with a cell phone company and a beauty company. And so a lot of sales background for me.
Yeah, that's a great diversity for you. Like I said, it kind of just shapes you into the position that you have today. Let's jump into the Paris Area Chamber of Commerce, small town Chamber of Commerce. If you had to compartmentalize what your Chamber of Commerce specializes in and really how they serve the community, how would you do that?
So we are a small community in Western Arkansas. We are not on the interstate. We don't have rail. We're very, very kind of secluded here in Arkansas. But that being said, we serve about 11,000 folks in our trade area. We have a really diverse and beautiful downtown. We focus on tourism. Of course, member benefits is, our top focus at the Chamber of Commerce. With a population of 3,200 in our city, we have about 210 chamber members. So for a town our size, we have a pretty good number there, and we're constantly growing. But I think, our focus is really trying to work together with our stakeholders, with our elected officials and folks like that, so that we are a hub and resource for everyone. We don't have a local newspaper or radio station, so we try to be that source for our residents. We have a great newsletter, our chamber Facebook page. Really, that's where people get their information.
What size of staff do you have?
1.5.
1.5. I bet that half works a lot.
She does. She does. And I couldn't do it without her.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. What do you feel like is the strength of being a small town chamber?
One of the things I really brag about, I get to travel around the state and talk to a lot of different chamber directors. And one of the things that we do really well is work together. Sometimes I hear that their county or their city, they don't work well together. They're constantly fighting each other, which really, that they struggle with growth because of that. So I definitely think working together, I have a unique role where I also sit on our city council. And so being on the city council, I work well with the city, but I did that before being on city council, work with our county officials as well. And that really is one of our beautiful strengths, that you don't get to see behind the scenes.
Let's talk about your county as a whole. What's the population of your county?
22,000. We're in Logan County, so very rural area.
So your ratio of chamber members per population is really, really high. What do you attribute that to?
I really think loving your people, loving your community, that's very important. But I think they feel that we have, we have a lot of tourism, and when people come and visit, a lot of times they come and they live here. And so when they first visit through that tourism aspect, they find the chamber and ask us, questions, and then they become friends of the chamber. But they typically get their information here. We definitely pride ourselves on being that resource, for all things. I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, no, that's a unique feature as you go through there. Let's talk about weaknesses. Let's hit both. You talked about your strength. Let's talk about what's a weakness that a small town chamber has.
Because we're small, and like everyone, and it doesn't matter if you're in small or a big chamber, money is an object, a hurdle we have to get over. But we have a very small office. So, for example, if I could grow my office, have a bigger office, have more staff, that's a goal of mine. But we could serve our members better in that way. We had a business recently that was building a building, and they needed to do some interviews, but my office wasn't big enough to let them have a room for the day. So we make do, we find places for them, we adapt, we get with our city hall or some of our businesses that have larger rooms, and we make it work with the limited resources, but we kind of just, tighten up our bootstraps and try to help people.
Now, does the chamber sponsor events? You talked about tourism. Do you guys sponsor events throughout the year that really lets that tourist stay in town a little bit and gives them another reason to be there?
Yes. So we have 2 large events every year, one in the spring and one in the fall. We host all of those. We host our chamber banquet, which definitely is a glamorous night to, come and celebrate some of the folks that make everything, work the way it does. We are the home of Mount Magazine, which is the highest point in the state of Arkansas. So they see about 600,000 visitors to that state park, and it's 19 miles from our downtown up to the mountain. With a name like Paris, we're really unique, and we have the only Eiffel Tower in the state of Arkansas. We have a love lock fence. So, Jake, if you got somebody, come and bring a lock and lock it in, and you can throw your key in the Eiffel Tower fountain and seal your love in Paris. So a lot of visitors like to come and just check all that stuff out, go to the mountain.
I'm going to skip that. Yeah, but I'll come and we'll take pictures in front of the tower. That sounds really, really cool.
Good.
Let's talk about the future a little bit, and really, I got 2 more questions for you. So let's talk about the future. What is a great vision for you guys? What's the future look like?
Well, adding more staff would be one really, important topic. I do run the Logan County Leadership Program, and so and that's only in its 5th year. But our leadership program has been a really great resource to help educate some of our stakeholders that have lived there their whole life and found out things that they didn't know about our area. So we run that out of our office. But one of the things I would like to do is start a youth leadership program so we can work on getting those youth involved early on, letting them fall in love with their community, because in a small town, a lot of times they grow up here and then they can't wait to leave. We want to try to fix that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Last question that I have for you today is we spent a lot of time talking about AI. That's the current topic, but digital transformation and how it's evolving. What does that look like for the chamber for you guys in the future?
We're trying to learn, as we have opportunities. We definitely use AI, which has made our job a little easier. I think that that's a tool that we were nervous about in the beginning, but it's a tool we've come to appreciate and enjoy. But building a better brand for yourself, AI is helpful in that.
Yeah, that's perfect. Tanya, you've done a really good job today talking about your chamber, your town, your city, your area, and really what it has to offer people. How do people get in touch with you? What else do you want people to know about Paris, Arkansas?
Okay, I'm going to give you a fun fact.
Okay.
So our Eiffel Tower is very small in comparison to other Eiffel Towers. It's only 18 or 25 foot tall. The actual tower is 18 foot, but there's a 2-tier water feature at the bottom. But one unique thing that I hope that people will take away is our Eiffel Tower is the only one that's actually painted with the same paint as the Eiffel Tower in France. So we actually got a hold of the folks in France. They sent us the same paint. So we have 3 different colors of brown in our Eiffel Tower. And that's a fun fact that people really do enjoy knowing about our area. And then what was the other part of your question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, just how do they find out more about you?
Oh, how do we find out? So, Facebook, we are Paris, Arkansas Chamber of Commerce. Our website is parisarkansas.com. So we're pretty easy to find. And we love having visitors and we love having people come. So call us and we'll point you in the right direction of a great place to eat or a place to stay.
There you go.
Come check it out.
So if we go to Benjamin Moore Paint and we try to order Eiffel Tower brown, they're not going to have it. We have to go to the source.
You absolutely do. Yes.
That's fantastic. Thanks for that tidbit of information. Tanya, God bless you guys and have a great day. Thanks for being on with me.
God bless you. Thanks, Jake.
Hey, thanks everybody. We've got Donnie Crane with the Perry County Chamber of Commerce in Arkansas. Donnie, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, glad to be with you, Jake.
Donnie, give us a little background on you. Where'd you grow up? Talk a little bit about your family and your career.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm a native Arkansan. Was born in Marlton, Arkansas, across the river from Perry County, and that's where my family roots go down here. Very deep here for generations. Matter of fact, my family, my father's family, they've owned and operated a little small country store for 4 generations. My wife and I make the 4th generation. So our roots go very deep here in Perry County. And for those of who might be watching that aren't familiar with Perry County, we're just northwest of Little Rock. And so we're a very small rural county of about 10,000 people. And on every side of us, there are larger places, here in Arkansas. Of course, most people would be familiar with Little Rock, but just to our east is Conway, Arkansas, which is one of the fastest growing metro communities in the United States. And different things like that. So it's a little bit unique, our situation, but we're trying to look at ways to capitalize upon our rural nature and and grow our community and different things related to that. So, but then, like I said, my family roots they're deep here in the area. My wife, she's from a little community of Little Italy, which is right there on the straddling the line of Perry County and Pulaski County. And so, we both go very deep here in this community, and we're really excited to be back home. We only moved back here a couple of years ago, and had this opportunity to serve the community and be a part of the community. We're just really excited about it, and glad at the Chamber of Commerce that we're able to work on that day in, day out.
Yeah, perfect. We talked a little bit off air. Let's talk about some of the actually your Chamber of Commerce. What are some things that make it unique?
Well, because we are such a rural community, we had not had the Chamber of Commerce for many years. I don't think that the Perry County Chamber was ever originally even established until after 2000. And it was a situation where it went along for several years, had, some volunteers and stuff that helped, make things happen. And then actually right before I moved back home, which was in late 2022, the chamber had sort of folded. The folks that had been helping and making things happen, they were getting older and the help just wasn't following them. And so, they made the difficult decision at that time to cease operations. And so actually I was brought home to lead the Chamber of Commerce of a neighboring community, which is Marlton, Arkansas, which always has a very close ties with Perry County. And with me taking on my new role and doing what I was doing for Marlton, it only made sense for us to, connect and continue those strong ties we've had with Perry County. And so actually we did something a little bit unusual. Under the Marlton Area Chamber of Commerce umbrella, we restarted the Perry County Chamber of Commerce, and it sort of falls under the larger chamber. So we're able to use our staff and some of the resources that it provides, but also give, the service and the support that our more rural county to the south needs to, help with their businesses and their unique situations. And so that's a little bit about the story of our chamber. It's been going now for a little bit over a year, and we keep adding new members, and there are several different projects and stuff that are underway that's got us really excited about the future for not only the chamber, but for the county.
Oh, very good. Very good. Talk about the demographic of your members. What percent corporation, what percent private entity?
With our membership in Perry County, it's virtually all private entity.
Okay.
We have 1 or 2 industries within the whole county, and they're relatively small. So like There's some timber industry in the county, but actually for the largest part, we're largely in the Ouachita National Forest, largely timber company land owned, but they actually cut and harvest here, and then they take it outside the county to the different mills and stuff in neighboring counties. We're home of Bentley Plastics, which is a unique little sort of specialty niche industry where they make all kinds of plastic drinkware and bowls and such. And so they've had a really good niche and do things that they sell all over the place. But that's one of the, I guess, the more unique industries we have here. But for the most part, it's small retailers, maybe it's different service providers, different ones that see the benefit of working together, for the betterment of the county.
Do you, talking about the whole county as a whole, do you provide events or services throughout the year? Does the chamber sponsor, those type of things, or are you strictly more really geared toward the betterment of your businesses and members?
We try to, for being a small chamber like we are, we try to provide a pretty comprehensive approach to how we go about trying to, make improvements in our county. And so some of that's that benefit that we have, falling like we do under the Morrilton Area Chamber of Commerce. So it allows me, and my staff of which includes myself and 3 others, to be able to do some things that we wouldn't be able to begin to afford with a small chamber like ours. And so, yes, since we've got it restarted, we're sort of reinstituting some things. So, for example, this past year, we had our chamber banquet and award ceremony. That was a great success and a great way to recognize people who are doing good things in the community. We're planning our first large community event, a festival, this upcoming April that we're calling the Fush River Outdoors Festival. We're really excited about that.
And when you do an event like that,
that'll be good.
When you do an event like that, that's community based. What is the goal there? I mean, to me, it's always been a struggle for me to see a chamber money. Like, obviously, it's a huge investment of time and money. Is the goal there to bring people into the community? Is it a goal of just providing something as a way to give back into your community? How do you see that event?
How we see it, one, obviously it's something that will provide some entertainment and value to our local residents. But being that rural community where historically people have left the community to go to outside communities to shop and do and all, we're trying to, in some ways, change the narrative a little bit and give reasons for folks from Little Rock, North Little Rock, Conway, Russellville, and all these surrounding towns that typically we've gone to for shopping and entertainment, bringing them into our county and sort of taking advantage of some of the resources and assets that we have that are a little different. We have as a county as a whole, we have 10,000 people. More than half of our county is the Ouachita National Forest, or a privately owned timber company land. So we're very rural. And that's becoming less and less common in Central Arkansas than it once was, and we sort of see that as our advantage. You can come to Perry County and you won't see a single stoplight. Arkansas is the home of Walmart, but we don't have one in Perry County.
Right.
What we have is, again, beautiful countryside. We're located in the rugged Ouachita Mountains, and we've got some really unique and neat little small retailers in different places, small communities, and we see that as what we have to offer that's different. Yeah. By having a festival like the Outdoors Festival that we're going to be hosting, that's again a way for people to maybe come to Perry County who haven't normally travel that way, sort of get introduced to it. And particularly for those who might be interested in what we have to offer, one, that'd be a place that they come visit, but maybe even more so might be that place that they look to consider to move to, or maybe start their own business.
There's the advantages you're talking, and I'm listening to this, there's in my mind, an advantage of a rural chamber, smaller community. There's a lot less hoops to jump through, especially if you're in a community who is welcoming new businesses and new opportunities. And instead of increasing regulations and restrictions, taking them back a little bit. We see it if we travel a lot. We'll see, hey, no property tax here for this amount of time, or No city taxes for new businesses or even new home construction. You see it, you see cities giving land away as sometimes in situations. And so I could see the role of a chamber in especially, so I'm glad you explained the festival and the event type of thing, because I really always wondered, how is that the chamber's role and how that fits in there. So that's perfect because it does.
Yeah, it is a lot of work and there's a lot of resource expended and stuff. So, that's what we've seen as that value that it can bring to us that makes it worth that investment of all that time and all of those resources. And, so that's sort of where our perspective is from that. And again, like I said, we're very interested if folks are interested in, making Perry County their home or maybe a place they want to invest. We work with them. Not only do we promote tourism, not only do we support local businesses, but I'm also an economic developer. And so whether it's showing them sites or maybe they can be able to, locate their business, invest, or maybe making those introductions with the realtors or different ones in the community. Again, trying to make sure we know where we're trying to go for our future, and then trying to find like-minded folks that want to be a part of that. That's a big part of our challenge, and I guess it's also some of the fun.
No, absolutely. I love it. You described that beautifully. Donnie, I guess the next question for people that are going to be watching this and hearing this is, how do they get in touch with you? How do they learn more about what's going on there?
All right. Well, I'm very proud of our website that we have. Again, we might be a small rural community, but we certainly understand the importance of being out there on the internet and using digital marketing and things. So certainly would encourage folks to go, if they want to know more information about Perry County and our Perry County Chamber of Commerce, go to our website. It's perrycountyarkansas.org. You'll see a lot of different information on the county. There's information on the site that would give, our email address, phone numbers, and all that kind of stuff. They can contact us if they need more information. And so, again, we're very happy to speak with folks and help them in whatever they might be looking at, whether it's business related, whether it's something personal, looking to relocate, different things like that. We're here to connect folks with the different resources that we have.
That's great. Donnie, thanks for being on with us today. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Jake. I certainly appreciate being on your show.
Hey, thanks everybody for joining us today. We are with Zeb Wellborn. He is with the Chino Valley Chamber of Commerce. Number of awards and number of accolades over the years. Zeb, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Let's just jump in right away. Let's talk about what you think makes Chino Valley Chamber of Commerce special and separate.
Well, I started the chamber about 6 years ago. It was a struggling chamber back then. We put a lot of work into trying to enhance and upskill our chamber. So over the last 6 years, we've grown a ton. When I started, it was 3 part-time people that were working in the chamber. We now have 8 full-time people working to support local businesses. We've implemented a couple of really unique programs that have taken off. We implemented this program that we called Upskilled Chino Valley, where we focus on workforce development, leadership development, economic development, and entrepreneurship development. So we've created programs around those things, and we've been executing those programs for the last 3 years, and it's really helped our chamber grow and thrive, and our businesses as well.
Zeb, I'm going to stop you there for just a minute. So you said that you started this Chamber of Commerce?
No. So the Chamber of Commerce is a 100-plus-year-old organization.
Okay.
I started working at the chamber 6 years ago.
Okay, very good. Very good. I was like, to do all that in 16 years, that's pretty impressive as it goes through there. So really, you're very, very business growth orientated. Talk about your background. Let's talk about you, where you came from. Let's talk a little bit about your family, and let's talk about your education and really what formulated this to make a great position for you.
Yeah, sounds great. So I'm born and raised in Chino Hills, so I live in the community that I now serve. So I did all my schooling in Chino Hills up through high school. At college, I went to Cal State Fullerton. I got a degree in history. So the only thing that I could think of with my degree in history was to become a history teacher. So I taught high school history for 4 years. I left teaching at that time, and I kind of traveled the country. But when I was traveling the country and I was looking for a job somewhere else, it was 2007, but I didn't know it was going to be 2007, so I couldn't find a job anywhere. So I traveled the country, ran out of money. I ended up moving back home and lived with my parents, and I started my first business, which was a tutoring business. I ran that and I learned about digital marketing. So I set up my website, did social media, did email marketing. And through that, I started a marketing company. So my marketing company is still running today, which is what got me involved. The Chino Valley Chamber of Commerce was trying to market my business to other business owners through the chamber. So I got involved. I got pretty active. I was on the board. I was chair of the board. And then shortly after my term on chair, there was some changeover in leadership. They asked me if I would take over the chamber, and that's how I got involved taking the chamber over. At the same time, I took over the chamber. I had my second kid. I have an 8-year-old, a 5-year-old, and my son's birthday, my youngest, is today. So he just turned 4. So I'm going to go celebrate with him when he gets out of school at 12 o'clock today. So
Yeah,
that's
we're going to have
family.
some ice cream or.
Yeah, well, they're gonna have a little party and a happy birthday party for him in his school. So that's why. So thank you for meeting with me earlier today, so that I could go attend that birthday party, and it's gonna be a great thing. And then we're gonna take him out for the day.
Zeb, let's hit on that a little bit. Let's talk about balance in life. How do you do that?
So the thing that I like about being an entrepreneur is you can work whatever 100 hours of the week you want, whatever they say, whatever the phrase is. So I work all the time, but I can also take off when I want. So when there's special moments like this where it's my son's birthday, I'm taking off the day, I'm hanging out with him, and picking him up from school and taking him home and going to the parties and taking him to do stuff. So that's how I do it. I work all the time, but then when I need to be there for family stuff, or when I'm there to spend time with the family, I'm able to do that, and that's what I try to do.
Very good. So have you maintained your private businesses in the task of this of being president of the chamber?
So when I ran the tutoring business, that was going well. I hired it was my girlfriend at the time, who I'm now married to. So I hired her to run over the tutoring business. So she ran that. When our first son was born, it was just too difficult to manage. So we kind of let that business go. The Wellborn Media marketing business is still going strong. We have lots of clients. I don't really fuse the two. So most of our clients are across Southern California or across the country. I wrote a book on how to do social media marketing for golf courses. So that was a niche that we have. I do a lot of work with county and city governments to help them with their social media and digital marketing stuff. And so we do have a lot of different programs we do. I still run the marketing business, but I try to keep the two separate.
How vital do you think, on a scale of 1 to 10, having run a business, having to know how businesses work and how they exist and they thrive, how vital is that on a scale of 1 to 10? Is that important for an executive director or a president of a chamber of commerce?
Well, I could just say from my personal experience, I think it's super important, but from me, I always thought that there are these institutions that kind of like neglected social media. And I will say, like, when social media first started, like, there's a lot of businesses and a lot of organizations that started because of that, and that have expanded and grown exponentially because they recognized the power that this social media thing was going to have. So I felt like I recognized that early on, but I didn't have an organization to like support or take over. And so when I took over the chamber, like, that was the thing that I feel like I infused in the chamber, which has led to monumental results for the chamber, that this Chino Valley Chamber. So I feel like my thesis of, hey, we need to be using social media to grow your chamber has worked out, because our chamber has been recognized across the country. We were finalists this last year for Chamber of the Year by the ACCE organization. I was named Executive of the Year by the WACE organization. So I know that the work that we're doing is good, and I attribute a lot of it to my acumen as a business owner, but also my acumen in digital marketing and making sure that we're getting our name and presence out to the community.
Yeah, that seems to be a common entity for you that keeps popping up here. I'm curious, as you look to the future, how do you maintain that and grow it? And what are you looking in expansion?
So we're doing a lot of things in growth, or like, I think that's like the mindset that I bring, is like a growth oriented mindset. I'm looking to grow. I'm not looking to just sustain an organization. I want to see an organization grow. So we've got our toes in a lot of different things. So one of the exciting things that happened to us recently was we submitted an appropriations request to our congresswoman, who appointed $1.25 million to our organization and our partners to help build an entrepreneurship center into our city. So that's designed to help us remodel a building. The building that we operate on is super small. So this allows us to get a larger space, and also allow us to open up this entrepreneurship center for entrepreneurs in our community. So that's an exciting thing. We've applied for a lot of workforce related grants and initiatives. So we are helping to find local job seekers getting jobs with our businesses so that our businesses have the skills that they need, our economy can grow, and people can get jobs in our local community. And so those are a couple of the things that we're working on. So the big project that we have is definitely entrepreneurial related and helping develop and expand that entrepreneurship center.
And you're providing free resources to people in your area for that?
So we've got awarded the funding. So the funding was awarded to build capital improvement. So that's to renovate a building. So we've got funds to renovate a building. We're still about 2 years away from actually like building that thing. So yes, the intention will be, there will be some free resources, but there will also be a business side of this too, where we're going to try to make sure that we expand and grow the business. So there will be some free ways to get people in the door, and then there'll be ways that we're going to kind of enhance and grow the organization from that work.
Do you do private consultation work?
I do, yeah. So I do a lot of recently I started doing board retreats, so like facilitating board retreats for organizations as my Wellborn Media business. There is some consulting side of things that we do. So yeah, absolutely. I definitely do some consulting on a variety.
Yeah, I just wondered if people wanted to reach out, model what you're doing there in Chino Valley. I mean, obviously you're at the top of your game and doing exceptionally well. What's some roadblocks that you've met? I mean, you've talked about capital improvement and things. So obviously money is always a roadblock when it comes to growth and expansion. Are there some other areas that you would like to see improvement in across the board with Chamber of Commerce's so that they can have that growth?
Yeah, so I mean, I'll tell you personally, like an issue that we faced in our chamber was we had we got involved in and we're not we engage politically. We want to support pro-business legislation. We want to make sure that we're passing those types of things. And we ran, but we did run into an issue that had nothing to do with us. It was more of like a political issue with our school board, I'll say in particular. So that was kind of a challenge that we've experienced. And so that's one of the things where this kind of political climate that we're in, like we want to stay in that sane center where we're working to support businesses, we're working to support common sense kind of business growth, and that's our focus, and that's what we want to focus on. So we get kind of derailed a little bit with that, and I know a lot of other chambers across the country are experiencing something similar. So that's one of those things where there are challenges that come up, and it's just trying to deal with it in a positive way, the way that we try to operate on that. And same thing with so I guess that's the biggest challenge that we've been so far is
very good. Zev, if people want to reach out and they want to learn more about and really I think model would be a great word. If they want to reach out and they want to learn more about what you've done there at Chino Valley Chamber of Commerce, how do they get in touch with you?
So one of the great things is my name is very easy to identify, which is right there, Zeb Wellborn. You can find me on all the social media channels. So I'm super easy to find on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all the things. So you just look up my name and you can always shoot me an email or look me up through the Chino Valley Chamber.
Very good. Zeb, thanks for being on with us today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Jake. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks everybody for joining us today. Today we're with Dave Gowan, and he is with the Red Bluff Chamber. They're in California and really kind of a unique situation. Dave, thanks for joining us. Give us a little background on you. Talk about your career and your family, where you grew up, and give us a little information there.
Great. Awesome. Thanks, Jake, for having me on here today. Grew up in Washington State.
Okay.
Was born in a little town called Walla Walla, Washington, and went to school in Eastern Washington. Married my wife, spent most of our lives there. And 15 years ago, we had some kids that were starting to attend ministry school in Northern California. And we have 6 kids. We knew that our future was in Northern California. And my oldest daughter, who was down here in Northern California, said, "Hey, Dad, there's a chamber opening." And I was a volunteer for our chamber in Washington State, but I worked for the county. I was a juvenile probation officer and administrator for the juvenile courts there for 22 years. So we kind of uprooted everything and moved down here to Northern California. What I learned, though, is that Northern California, people don't even really know where that is. We're above where people think Northern California is. We're 2 hours north of Sacramento. We're right on the Sacramento River. We're 45 minutes from Lassen Volcanic National Park, which is beautiful and amazing. So we've kind of changed it. I'm also involved in Northern California tourism. And so we've kind of changed the name a little bit of our area, and we're starting to call it Upstate California. Kind of get that vibe kind of upstate New York, where it's rural, green, God, family, country are all really important, and a slower pace of life. And it's amazing up here. And so some people think that California ends at Sacramento, but the best part just starts, and we go on the whole way up to Oregon, which is 2 hours north of us here. And so that's kind of where things are with me. Been married now for 39 years to the same wonderful, beautiful wife. And like I mentioned, we have 6 kids. And then all of a sudden, whammo, they grow up and they get married. And after they get married, they have kids. And so my wife and I get 13 grandkids now. So we're involved obviously a lot in family, in community, in faith in our area, and then have the Chamber of Commerce and Economic Development going as well. So I'm blessed and happy, and just thankful for where things are.
Well, let's jump in. You talked a little bit off air that you really felt like your chamber had 2 major strengths, and the first being the community impact. So I'm assuming that your chamber has a dual focus, not only to take care of your businesses and to promote commerce in your community, but you also apparently have a community role where it becomes much more than just business commerce. It's more about activities and involvement. Talk a little bit about your community impact.
Yeah, so we're excited about it. So our official name for our chamber is the Red Bluff Tehama County Chamber of Commerce. So we not only handle the city of about 20,000, but throughout the county as well. And so I've been to a lot of trainings in Chamber World, started in 2010. And one quote I remember is, when you've seen one chamber, you've seen one chamber, because all chambers of commerce are different, and different emphasis, different vibe, different ways that they roll in their community. And we are a huge community partner, community strength for information. People get a hold of us for just about anything going on. And so so business, when I got here in 2010, we had 303 members. Now we're at over 500 members of our Chamber of Commerce. And so there's been a great growth, great momentum there, and a strong network of people. My staff is great. We've got a staff of 3 that are amazing team members, and a great board, and we have chamber ambassadors as well. So we're big on business and coming along small, medium to large businesses and helping them out as much as we can. But we put on about 100 events a year, our chamber.
Wow.
And then we promote about 350 others. So so we're involved in a lot of quality of life type things. We do our typical networking and dinner and stuff like that, but we put on the farmers markets here. So in the summer, we have a Wednesday night market that's 100% quality of life for families. It's got kids activities and live music and farmers, vendors, food trucks. And it's just a wonderful time all summer long in the hot upstate California heat. And people love it. And it's basically the social activity for the summer here in Red Bluff and Tehama County. So it just gives you that feel of old school Americana. It's just wonderful. We shut down the downtown streets, and there's grass and trees and everything going on, and it's just amazing. So, and then our Saturday morning markets we have down here at our park, where our office is right on the Sacramento River, and there's a park here. We put on our Saturday morning year-round market as well. So that's one of the quality of life things. The other one is our parades. We put on the Christmas parade that we're working on right now. Lighted, amazing, beautiful. Thousands of people come out, kids cheering on everybody, and then Santa's at the end and get to honor some folks locally. And so that's an amazing thing. And then I don't know enough of your history, but you obviously are a cowboy. We have a big rodeo here. It's called the Red Bluff Roundup every
Oh,
third
yeah.
week in April. And so we're a huge partner with that. We get, 30,000 plus coming in 3 days. It's one of the top 5 3-day outdoor rodeos in the nation. It is top notch, top quality. And so we put on the parade for that as well. Horses and cowboys and cowgirls and everything else that you would imagine are in our parade with 10 to 12,000 visitors for that. It's just a powerful, wonderful thing for our community. We put on a cowboy golf tournament. We let the pro cowboys play for free in that sold out tournament every year. It's just amazing. Cowboy mixer. We put on a chili cook-off during that time. A decorating contest for local businesses to decorate for the theme of the year's rodeo the week before, and we have a big kickoff breakfast with all of the cowboys and the rodeo association here. And so we're just all about quality of life type stuff, and I could go on and on, but we're here to strengthen, to be a community connector, because when I got here, we weren't very strong in customer service or communication. And so we've done a 180 on that. We're very strong in those areas, and people really appreciate that.
What size of staff do you have?
It's myself and three staff.
Wow.
So we're small, but man, I'll tell you what, we just hired a new gal that's been here not quite a year yet since we've taken on economic development. But my staff, myself and Jason and Nat, we have about 36 years of experience here in the Red Bluff Chamber. So we've been able to really grow and mature and build relationships that are just fantastic. And so we're fairly efficient and we're high in impact.
Now, you mentioned that you're now also in charge of economic impact and development for the county.
Correct.
Talk about that endeavor. Let's talk about that endeavor first. What are the goals there? And then we're going to talk about how do you keep that from distracting what you're already doing.
Right. Yeah. That's a great call there. So the economic development here has been dead, really honestly for a decade or so. Not much going on. Something happens, it just happens because somebody wanted it to. But as far as really rolling up the sleeves and being involved in economic development, there has not been any. And so about 2 years ago, I was approached by the Board of Supervisors saying, hey, we think you guys would be a great partner and a great organization to run economic development for the county. And I said, you know what, we're in. Whatever we can do to strengthen the local economy, strengthen local businesses and recruit and bring outside businesses in, we're all for it. And so they funded us great to upstart it. We have a brand new website that's just top notch website. It's tamacounty.biz, and it's wonderful. And so, we're getting about 5 times the activity on that website than the former county economic development website. And so we're getting a lot of traction there, meeting with large, medium, and small businesses from outside that are coming in and strengthening and helping the local ones. And so, everybody in economic development, I'm finding out, has about the same problems. Infrastructure, workforce. And so we're developing both of those things as best as we can. But one thing I've learned now that we're heading it up and we're supposed to be the experts in this thing is that economic development requires much time and consistent effort. And so it's not like we get a website up and boom, the next day, you've got some large manufacturers showing up at your door. So anyway, so we just got to be patient. I told my board, I told the supervisor, I said, it feels like fishing. You cast out there, You know, sometimes you get a nibble, sometimes you reel in and all you have is a seaweed. And sometimes, you know, your bait's gone. But you know what? Every once in a while, you got a fish on the line, and that's what keeps you fishing. And so that's what we're doing.
Very, very good. Very good. Talk about your involvement in this. Why you're so passionate about this.
I love our community. The people here are gems. You know, again, we're small, rural, but man, I'll tell you what, the people are so friendly and nice. When I moved here, you know, I'm kind of a little bit of a city boy, and moving to kind of a cowboy area, they didn't know if David could make it, you know. But you know what? They are a little bit different. And I have a cowboy hat now and cowboy boots, you know, and I wear those when I need to. But bottom line is, the people are amazing. And the resources here. I mean, in 45 minutes, like tomorrow, I have one of my sons is in town. We're going to head up to the mountains, 45 minutes away to a volcano. There's 4 kinds of volcanoes in the world. All 4 are right here at Lassen Park. It's a hidden, beautiful gem. The rivers, the waterfalls, the Sacramento River, the outdoor and adventure for our area is amazing. And so I'm all about quality of life. I mean, I'm not going to be somewhere or move somewhere or do something for dollars. You know, I want quality of life for myself, my wife, my kids, and I know everybody else here wants that too. And so we're inviting people to join and be a part of amazing things going on here. And so that's why I'm passionate. It's a wonderful place to be, a wonderful place to work and encourage people to grow themselves and grow from the outside in, not overdo it, but you know, we can all grow and improve some.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good. Anything else you want to add for us? Give us that website one more time. So
our chamber website is redbluffchamber.com. And on there's a couple of videos on there. One is called Rising Tehama. That's Tehama County. And that's a kind of an economic development one, just on business and what's going on and the people. And then the other one is Visit Red Bluff. And it just talks more about the tourism end of it and our historic downtown that's just amazing and picturesque and awesome. So those are a couple of things on our website, and it would lead you to our Facebook and Instagram that we're very active in. You know, for a chamber, we've got about 17,000 followers on our social media. And so it's great. And so those are ways that people can find out more about us and email us. You can get our email off of the websites as well. And if you're looking for something to do and someplace to go, come visit us. If you're looking to move a family to an incredible place, this is a place for you. And if you move your business here or extend or grow your business here, we'd love to have you or have the conversations with you.
very cool. We love upstate California. We were just there a couple months ago. So
yeah,
very
nice.
Good. Very good. Dave, thanks for joining us today. I appreciate it.
You bet, Jake. Take care. God bless.
Positivity, that's the key to live a life that's wild and free. Don't you know we can be anything we want to be?